Most people believe they would notice if they changed. They think it would feel obvious. That there'd be a clear moment they crossed. Something they could point to and say, "That's where it happened." But here's what actually happens. You don't notice. Not while it's happening. Not in real time. You only realize later. When something feels off. When you look back at a version of yourself. And you can't quite find that person anymore. And the most unsettling part? You were there for all of it. Every single moment. And you still missed it. It doesn't start with something dramatic. No fight that broke everything. No single decision you regret. No moment where life split into before and after. It starts the way most things start. Quietly. With something so small you don't even register it. Maybe it's a conversation you avoided. Because you just didn't have the energy. Maybe it's a feeling you had. And chose not to say out loud. Maybe it's something that used to matter to you. And one day, it just didn't anymore. And at the time, that felt fine. Reasonable, even. I'm just tired. I'll deal with it later. It's not a big deal. We all say those things. The problem isn't the moment. The problem is what happens after it. Here's what nobody talks about. The first time you hold something back. It feels uncomfortable. The second time. It feels easier. By the third time. It feels normal. And that's the exact moment it becomes dangerous. Not when something changes. But when the change stops feeling like a change. Think about the small things. The conversations that got shorter over time. Not because of a fight. Not because something happened. Just shorter. And at some point you stopped noticing. Because shorter became normal. Or the things that used to excite you. The plans you used to make. The energy you used to have for people, for ideas, for your own life. And one day you realize you haven't felt that in a while. Not because it was taken from you, but because somewhere along the way, you just stopped reaching for it. So you keep going. Still present. Still functioning. Still showing up. But there's a difference, a quiet one. Between being present and actually being there. Between going through the motions and actually feeling them. And slowly, without ever deciding to. That gap becomes your new normal. You stop questioning it. You tell yourself it's a phase. That you're just tired. That life is heavy right now. But patterns don't care if you're tired. They repeat. They reinforce themselves. They settle into your behavior like they were always there. Until the version of you that used to feel things differently gets quieter. Not gone. Just harder to hear. And then something interrupts it. Not loudly. Something small. A photo you come across by accident. A song that used to mean everything. Playing somewhere in the background. Or something someone says, completely without thinking. You're not like you used to be. And your first instinct is to laugh it off. Because from the inside, you still feel like you. You have to be. Right. But later that night, when it's quiet, when there's nothing left to distract you, it comes back. And you start replaying things. Not in a dramatic way. Not like a breakdown. Just quietly, in that silence that only exists late at night. When your mind finally stops running. And starts looking. The way you responded to someone who needed you. The way you changed the subject when things got too real. The way you felt, and chose not to show it. Not because you didn't care, but because caring felt like too much to carry. So you put it down. Just for now, you told yourself. But things never quite got easier. And what you put down, you never quite picked back up. And what hits you isn't just that you changed. It's that you were there for every single moment it happened. And you told yourself it was fine. You were surviving. You were handling things. And somewhere between surviving and actually living, you stopped keeping track of who you were doing it for. The hard part isn't what changed. The hard part is realizing you didn't see it happening Because you assumed you would. You thought awareness would come naturally. That you'd feel the shift before it settled. That you'd catch it early enough to stop it. But that's not how it works. Awareness doesn't come first. It comes after. After the pattern is already there. After the behavior already feels normal. After it's already woven into how you speak, how you respond, how you move through the world. And the reason you missed it isn't because you weren't paying attention. It's because you were paying attention to everything else. To the job, to the stress, to the relationships that needed you, to the 100 small fires you were putting out every day. You weren't checked out. You were overwhelmed. And when you're overwhelmed, you don't have the luxury of watching yourself change. You're just trying to get to tomorrow. And when that realization lands, it's not loud. It doesn't come with clarity or relief. It's just quiet and heavy and completely undeniable. The moment you stop seeing the version of yourself you've been performing and start seeing the one that's actually been there, the one that got tired, the one that pulled back, the one that stopped asking for things because it felt easier not to need them. That version isn't broken. That version was doing its best. But seeing it clearly, for the first time in a long time, that's the first honest thing you've felt in a while. And it matters more than you think. Change is quiet. It doesn't wait for a good time. It doesn't ask if you're paying attention. It happens in the small moments. The ones you let slide. The ones you told yourself didn't count. But here's what's also true. The same way you drifted, you can find your way back. Not to who you were. That version of you existed in a different time. Under different weight. Facing different things. You can't go back to that. But you can go forward, honestly. With the awareness you have now. With the understanding that change is quiet. And so is the decision to reclaim yourself. One moment at a time. One honest reaction. One feeling you don't push away. One conversation you stop avoiding. It doesn't have to be everything at once. It just has to start. And if you're watching this, if something in these words felt familiar, then maybe it already has.